Hey guys, welcome to Motoroids. My name is Amit and this is the new Range Rover Evoque, and this is the car which somewhat changed the way people looked at SUVs with its stupendous design. Nobody had thought that SUVs could look so cool. It was one of the nicest looking SUVs anywhere in the world when it made its debut as the LRX concept, and even in production form the Evoque was one of the nicest looking compact premium SUVs anywhere in the world, and in its new generation I must say it looks even better. Now in terms of design, the earlier vehicle was somewhat straight cut and it was a little more boxy in this, but this one has a few more curves and it looks a little bit more roundish from certain angles. But boy, does it look good. It really is a looker, and the car that you see here in this color looks absolutely stunning, and it's places like these where these vehicles can bring you, and that's what really makes them special. It's a Range Rover, it's a proper SUV. It can take you out of some really tricky situations. It comes with a very capable all-wheel drive system, and it can really take you to some really inaccessible places. Now let's talk about the design first, and in terms of dimensions, the length has not increased much. It's more or less the same as the previous version, but the wheelbase has increased a little more than 20 mm, and that fact has liberated more space inside. And not just that, the wheels, if you look at it, are pushed more towards the corners, which gives it a more planted, a more sporty stance. Now let's have a look at its front, and if you have not noticed yet, you would have realized that this somewhat resembles the Range Rover Velar, but in terms of dimensions it's not all that big. But that grille, those headlamps and a lot of other things are very similar to the Velar. This grille looks absolutely stunning with this satin silver kind of finish, this Land Rover branding here and this Range Rover branding here on the bonnet. You have this beautiful LED light setup. On the left you have this beautiful LED projector, and these DRLs look simply stunning. You have this slot here which differentiates this fascia from the Velar. You have these air inlets on the left, and you have this headlight washer as well. Right up front you have this fob dash plate, and I must say this thing looks absolutely stunning. I really don't think there is any other SUV in this class which looks as stunning as the Range Rover Evoque. And if you're someone who buys his cars to look good, there's really nothing that comes close to the new Range Rover Evoque. A few other details. This part is made of piano black. These inlets let the air in, and here you have the fog lamps again finished very beautifully, and these are LED lights coming towards the side. A very beautiful element is that this bonnet line takes a curve over the fenders and then meets beautifully in this element near the doors. You have piano black here and satin silver elements here. And coming down, if you look at the wheels here are 18 inches 235 section, and these are Goodyear Eagle tires which can do a fair bit of on-roading and a little bit of off-roading as well. The ground clearance here is about 212 mm, which is more than sufficient, and the pièce de résistance is here. Flush fitting handlebars seem to be the in thing right now, and a few other cars do it better than Range Rover. It comes out, and not just that, when they come out there is also a projection on the ground which makes the Range Rover emblem, which looks really cool. You have this really nice straight cut line which creates a very nice projection, and it gives this vehicle a very beautiful stance. The alloys look nice, but I really think they could have been done better. They look very subtle. They are not very flamboyant. Had they been a little bit more flamboyant, I probably would have liked it a little bit more. You have this contrasting roof, you have this big ass spoiler, and you also have this little quarter glass here so that light comes inside and you don't feel claustrophobic. You have these elements of piano black here. That shark fin antenna looks really cool, and this big ass spoiler here looks amazing. Coming towards the rear, the tail lamps have also been changed, and the rear of this car looks a lot more curvaceous than the previous version. It looks really nice, and in the flesh this car really grabs attention. Wherever you go, you'll see people turning their heads and looking at this beautiful car. And I really love this engine, the driveline, the way this car drives. I would really want to drive this car. I really don't want to give it back to Land Rover, but unfortunately I'll have to. So if you're a driver, you're going to love it. A few other things. On the shark fin antenna you don't have any camera here, but on the top of the line SE variant, as you can see, you have the S variant here. On the SE variant you'll have a camera here, and on the rear view mirror you'll have a button. If you press that button, there'll be a 50-degree camera which can project whatever is behind you onto that screen, and that's one of the highlights of this car. You also have that feature on the Discovery Sport. You have this beautiful Range Rover lettering here, And if you look at these lights, they are also very beautifully done. They are all LED and they're very slim. They look absolutely stunning. This obviously is the D180 variant, which is the diesel, 2-liter diesel, and the power output here is 180 PS. Torque is 430 Newton meters, and you also have the top of the line SE variant as well. Evoque branding here. You have a camera which is a wide angle unit, and like the front, you have the sensors and a bash plate at the bottom. Let's see what's inside the boot. Before we talk about the boot, you have this key, and if you press this key, the powered tailgate will come up all by itself. And the boot space here has increased. Now it's 590 liters, and it's very practical. It's powered, so you just have to press this button to bring it down. Let's open it again. And as you can see, the seats here are 40-20-40 split, so you can use it to accommodate any long objects which cannot be accommodated in this area. You have a 12-volt power socket here, and apart from that, underneath this area you have a space saver spare. You don't have a full-size spare here, neither do you have an alloy wheel, but you do have a space saver which can save your life if you have a flat tire. You have this net here where you can put stuff. You have a light, and you have these hooks on both the sides, and you also have these very sturdy steel hooks if you want to put bungee cords and you want to tie something. Apart from that, you also have this elastic unit here, so if you want to put something that you don't want to be rolling around, you can put it here. So that's that, guys. It's a compact premium SUV, but you have plenty of space here. So if you're going out with your family for a weekend, you have enough and more space to put your entire family's luggage. Let's shut this and let's have another look at this beautiful piece of engineering and art. I really believe that this is one of the most stunning looking SUVs anywhere, and if you like automotive design, you are going to fall in love with this. It really is an amazing car, and the good thing is that inside the space is sufficient. It's not cramped, so if you want practicality, you'll get that as well. Which brings us to the interior of the car, and we are going to get inside the car. But before that, let's have a look at the key. And you have this lock unlock button here, you have this light button here, and apart from that, you have this hazard button, and you have this boot release button as well. And now we'll get inside and see what all wonders does the new Range Rover Evoque pack. Alright, so from the inside, the cabin of the new Range Rover Evoque looks really nice and contemporary. So let's start off with the door panels, and as you can see, you have quite a few buttons here. So here you have the child lock button, you have all the window buttons which are auto up and down, one touch of course, and then you can use these buttons to choose the mirror, and then you can adjust them electrically. You can lock or unlock the doors. Apart from that, you have this really nice big cavity in the door panel, and you can easily fit a 1-liter water bottle here. You have this door handle which is really nice and handy, but what really stands out and I wanted to talk about is this material here, and it's made of recycled water bottles or similar other recycled products, and that's a great initiative by Land Rover to make sure that the sustainability is increased in some sense. So the materials that are used here on the dashboard on the S and the SE variants may look different, but they're all made with recyclable material. Overall, the quality is phenomenal. You have this soft to touch dashboard here, and you obviously have these leather seats which are done in black here, but you obviously have some options. In the S and SE variant, you have some differences. Talking about the differences between the S and the SE variants, you get a lot of extra features, so let's talk about them. You get solar attenuating windscreens, you get memory function for seats and mirrors, and you also get seats which are adjustable in more electrical ways. You get a 14-way adjustable seat on the R-Dynamic SE variant. You also get a steering wheel with Atlas bezel, chrome tread plates with R-Dynamic branding, bright metal pedals, and you also get a linear dark aluminum trim finisher. On the infotainment side, you get a high quality Meridian sound system with 380 watts and 11 speakers, including subwoofer with AM/FM radio. You get a 10-inch Touch Pro Duo system where the lower HVAC controls and mode controls are replaced by a screen, and you also get the ClearSight interior rear view mirror. Finally, the instrument console is all digital there, and these are the differences between the S and the SE variants. Now coming to the driver's position, you have this really beautiful leather wrapped steering wheel and these familiar buttons. They are backlit and they are very easy to understand. They are very intuitive, and you have some really good features here. You have the lane keep assist here, you have the all-terrain progress control, you have hill descent control, you have this really beautiful touchscreen for controlling the AC and a few other things. So in order to operate this, you essentially have to press this button to change the function of this dial. So right now I'm controlling the flow, and if I press it again, I can control the temperature. You have a dual zone AC here, and similarly if you want to be using various different modes available on the car, you have to press this button and they light up, and you can choose from the 6 different modes that are available. And another important thing that a lot of you would have expected is that rise up dial that was there in earlier Land Rover cars, but that has now been removed and it's now been replaced by this drive selector, which again is really nicely done. It feels really nice and premium, and I really also like this whole treatment that Land Rover are given to this central floating panel. It really looks nice in this piano black and this contrasting aluminum kind of a finish. You have this tray here on which you can either put your cell phone or remove this, and it'll reveal twin cup holders and one 12-volt power socket. Talking of power, you have some crazy numbers of power sockets here. So one you have here. Apart from that, you have 2 USB sockets here, and you have another 12-volt power socket right here. Apart from that, you have 4 more USB and power sockets at the back. So in all, you have 8 power sockets. So you have a lot of power flowing through this car. Now let's have a look at the instrument console, and on the left you have the speedo, on the right you have the tacho. Both of these things are analog, but in the middle you have this very nice digital readout, and again a lot of information is channeled here, so you can really be aware of what's happening. And if you go for the home screen, you'd be able to see a lot of good information. Right now the hill descent control is turned on, so I'll turn it off, and here you have the fuel efficiency related figures, and like this you can go through the various different menus that are available. So you have your trip, you have display, you have vehicle settings, you have vehicle info, and you have driver assistance. So this is how you can see whatever information you want to look at here. The mirrors are auto dimming, and you have this really beautiful panoramic sunroof, although it's fixed glass so the glass doesn't move, but the size of the roof is really huge, and this glass really looks nice and lets a lot of light come in. Overall, the quality of this cabin is really amazing, and the audio system here is also pretty good, although you have the option to go for the higher quality Meridian audio system on the higher SE variant. You have a push engine start stop, and the seats are really comfortable. I really love these seats. Talking of the seats, you get these 4-way adjustable electrical seats, but you don't have lumbar support here, which is quite a bummer. I really thought this car would have more electrical adjustments for the seats, but that option is available only in the higher SE variant, and there you'll also get a memory function for seat as well as mirror adjustments. You can open the bonnet from here. You have the electronic parking brake button here. You can release the boot from here, and here you have the manual headlight leveler. You have this beautiful Range Rover plaque here, and it looks really nice. You also get a dead pedal for those comfortable long journeys, and the view from here is very nice and commanding. You sit high up and it feels like you're sitting in a very sturdy vehicle. Both the sun visors come with mirrors, and you also have a toll ticket and a light. Then you have this beautiful armrest with twin lids. You can flip them up, and there's a lot of space underneath, and you can actually put quite a lot of stuff in there, so space is no problem. And you can remove this tray from here and use this as an open space as well. You can put this in the glove box, which by the way is not cooled. It's reasonably sized, but there is no cooling here, so I would really have liked it had there been cooling here. Apart from that, if you look at the dashboard layout, it's very neatly done, and this dashboard is followed by this horizontal layout for the AC vents. You have a piano black insert here, followed by this aluminum kind of an insert, and then you have this 3D kind of a dash protruding out. It looks really nice and classy. You have this 10-inch screen here, Touch Pro, and it's quite responsive and it's easy to understand as well. You also have ambient lighting, and you can choose from as many as 10 colors. Overall, this screen is very responsive, and Jaguar Land Rover have upgraded their Touch Pro system. Now it's very responsive and it's pretty easy to understand as well. It's loaded with features and it looks really nice. In the higher variants, you get a Touch Pro Duo system, where these lower controls for the ACs are replaced by a screen which is the same size, and it looks even nicer. But I really think that these controls for AC and a few other controls are very nice as well, and they look very nice and are very easy to use as well. You get all the safety aids. You have 8 airbags and the Land Rover Evoque. It feels solid. It really feels very sturdily built, and it's so well insulated. There is no noise coming in, so it feels really nice and comfortable when you're going for long journeys. And if you're sitting in the front seats, you feel that you're sitting in a very commanding position. You feel like you're sitting on a throne, and you get a very solid, very SUV-ish feel, which I really think is very important for someone who wants to be seen driving an SUV. Lights here are feather touch, so you just have to like glide your hands over them and they light up or go off. And overall the quality here is very nice. More than the quality, that the feel that you get while you're driving this car is phenomenal. And off late, of all the compact and mid-size SUVs that I've driven, I really love the new Evoque, and I think that they have done a fantastic job with how it looks and how it feels and how all the materials are inside. Maybe there could have been a few more features, but the feel here is amazing. When it's on the move, this car feels phenomenal. And time now to get to the back seat and see how the state of affairs is there. Quite a lot of knee room for the compact size of the car. In fact, the headroom is also pretty good, and there won't be any problem for even 6-footers who are sitting here. So in that sense, it feels much bigger from the inside than what it looks from the outside. You have these AC vents which you can control for the flow, although you don't have a third zone for the ACs. As I mentioned before, you have these 2 USB sockets and 1 power socket. Both of these are 5 volts, so they allow for fast charging. So if you have any electronic equipment, they'll be charged very quickly. Now if you look at the seats, they're again very comfortable. There is very good amount of under thigh support as well. For this car size, the seats are really good, and you also get this really wide armrest with 2 cup holders. And as I mentioned before, these seats are 40-20-40 split, and they come with 3 separate adjustable headrests and 3 seat belts, so that's a fantastic thing. You also get these ISOFIX mounts for child seats, and overall the quality of the seats and the kind of support that you get here for the size is really nice for the size. The only complaint that I have is that this car probably could have done with a recline function for the backrest for the back passengers, but I think that's okay. Also, you get a 5-volt charging socket here, and then you get some support for mounting a screen here. If you really want to put a screen here for entertainment, you can do that. You have these magazine holders, and overall the view from here is very nice. You get a very nice solid feel. The windows are not all that big, since as I mentioned, the shape of the roof slopes down while the window line goes up, so the size of the window is not all that much. But you have this quarter glass here to let more light come in. And if you want, you can drop these seats like these, not just to accommodate for more stuff, but also to access stuff directly if you so wish. So that's a great convenience. But overall, I'm impressed with the amount of space that you have. You can probably seat a third person here for short to medium journeys, but there's a hump here, so it won't be very comfortable for long journeys. But overall, inside the Evoque, the insulation is amazing. You actually have fluid filled bushes, so the suspension quality is fantastic, the ride quality is amazing, and that makes this backseat really comfortable. And in its newest avatar, the cabin space has also increased by 20 mm, so now the Evoque is quite a comfortable car to sit in. And those of you who did not buy it because you thought that the space inside is compromised, you don't have to think like that. If you're going to be traveling as 4 persons, 1 driver and 3 passengers, you'll be driving in utter comfort, and I really think that you can go for the Evoque now. Apart from that, a few other details that remain. You get these lights, and it's a sturdy car. It comes with 8 airbags, it comes with all the safety features, so it's a fantastic, compact, fashionable looking car for you and your family. Alright, so what we have here is the 2-liter turbo diesel variant of the Evoque, and the power output here is 180 HP. Peak torque is 430 Newton meters. 0 to 100 kilometers per hour happens in a little less than 10 seconds. And while that's not one of the quickest times, you'll see it's pretty brisk. It's not a very punchy engine, but that 9-speed automatic transmission makes it velvety smooth, and while you're driving it over the highway or through the city, it feels very smooth. If you're looking for outright performance, maybe you should be looking elsewhere, but in terms of the smoothness of it, in terms of the fuel efficiency, and in terms of the sheer comfort that it delivers, it's really outstanding. In the real world, the fuel efficiency that we got on the highway was about 12 kilometers to the liter, and within the city you'd probably get about 8 to 9 kilometers to the liter. So it's pretty fuel efficient, and What really stands out is the fantastic ride quality of this machine. Whether you're driving at low speeds or at high speeds, it absolutely flattens out any undulations or bumps on the road. There is absolutely no thud. There may be a very mild vertical movement if you're driving at very slow speeds and there is a big bump, but apart from that, all sorts of undulations are taken in stride with aplomb. And this has to be one of the most comfortable SUVs in its class. I really love the way this thing drives. The steering has a very positive feedback, and you would enjoy driving this vehicle for an SUV. It is one of the nicest handling SUVs in this class, and the drive here is uncannily enjoyable. You'd really enjoy driving this vehicle. It holds its line very well. It's very sure-footed. Body roll is extremely well contained, and there is absolutely no noise filtering into the cabin. There is no ambient noise, there is no tire noise, no road noise. It's a silent cabin, and the feeling of plushness that you get here is absolutely unbelievable. So as you can see, we are driving around some of the nicest roads around Mumbai, and even around such twisties. Despite being a very heavy all-wheel drive SUV, this thing holds its line beautifully. It feels compact, it wraps itself around you, and the feedback that you get from the steering is really amazing for an SUV. So if you're someone who wants to drive himself, I would really very strongly recommend this car. Not just is this car very sporty, but this is extremely comfortable as well. And for someone who's looking for a good mix between ride quality, comfort and sporty drive feel, this SUV is absolutely outstanding. And I must say that I was not expecting it to be such a nice machine to drive, but I'm impressed, and full marks to Land Rover for having created this beautiful driveline. It's not outright punchy, but if you do with a very brisk progress in terms of acceleration and you want a good mix of fuel efficiency as well as drive comfort with the very plush ride quality, I really think that the new Land Rover Range Rover Evoque is exemplary. It's absolutely beautiful. You also get to choose from quite a few driving modes, and while you won't see any buttons, they are hidden right here, and you get to choose from as many as 6 driving modes. So you have the eco mode, you have the normal mode, you have the auto mode, which automatically scans the roads and adapts itself based on the road surface. Then you have the grass, gravel, snow mode, you have the mud ruts mode, and finally you have the sand mode. So this is a very capable SUV as well, although you would not want to take this kind of a premium SUV in extreme off-roading conditions. But if you end up in areas which are slushy, less traction, and aren't too rough, you should be able to take care of adverse conditions pretty well, and this machine should be able to take you out. This also get the terrain response 2 system, so it's pretty capable. Also you get the ATPC or all-terrain progress control. So if you're off the road, you can just put the ATPC on, and this vehicle will drive over a variety of surfaces at a constant slow speed, and you won't really have to bother about handling the braking or the acceleration. You just have to control the steering. And how ATPC works is something that I have explained in extreme detail in one of our videos on the Discovery Sport, and you can find the link to that video above. So I would really recommend that you want to know how ATPC works, you watch that video. Overall, it's a fantastic machine. If you really love driving, you are going to be impressed by the Evoque. As I mentioned before, it's not extremely powerful, but it's very brisk, and the overall feel that it gives you, despite being an SUV, the road holding, the comfort and its dynamic ability is something which is absolutely mind-blowing, and I really love driving this car around bends as well as on the highway. So full marks to Land Rover, and if you want to be driving yourself, this is the SUV to go for. Now the Evoque is an amazing looking car, and while it competes with the Audi Q5 and the BMW X3 in terms of price, in terms of size, it's maybe slightly bigger than the Audi Q3 and the BMW X1. In terms of direct competitions, it doesn't have any, because its size, its positioning and its overall dimensions, its attitude is not quite comparable to any of the other SUVs in the market. This is a car which is meant for someone who wants to drive himself. If you like driving yourself, this is a great driver's car. You'd really love driving it. It's very comfortable, it's compact, and it makes a statement. If design is high on your priorities, go ahead and buy this one. I really recommend this car. For 4 people, you will be driving utter comfort, and unless you really want to be driving with 5 people and you really want that extra size, I don't really think that this car is any less than the Audi Q5 or the BMW X3 in terms of comfort and the overall practical space. So if driving dynamics, comfort and a fashion statement is something that you are looking at, go ahead and buy this one. It's available in two variants, the S and the SE variant. The S variant is for 55 lakh rupees ex-showroom and the SE variant is 60 lakh rupees. And I really think that if you buy a premium car, you buy it for the looks of it. You want to be announcing your arrival, and in this segment no other car does it better than the Range Rover Evoque. I really hope that you like this video. If you liked it, hit the like button, smash it, subscribe to Motoroids, and do let us know if you have any further questions. If you have any questions, we'll be very happy to answer them. And until next time, this is Amit Changani signing off. Rev hard, rev free, and drive safe. And this, by the way, is the view I'm leaving you with, because this car got me here. And that's why these cars are more desirable than your hatchbacks and the sedans. Bye-bye.